So what I have here is a card carousel I designed for Dominion. And it has these 3 tiers. This is the expansion. But the base game, you only need these 2 tiers. And what it does is it's collapsible. So you can take all this extra storage out and put your top tier in the center. Then you put on your middle tier, and the riser goes like that, and you're able to store this with cards in it, or transport it with cards in it. And it's been super nice. It makes the game a lot more playable. Yeah, I play the game a lot more just because of the fact I have this. So if you wanted to make your own, I've got the design up on Thingiverse. However, what I'm doing in this video is I'm going to show you how to put it together. Here we have the bottom of the carousel, and it's this round piece with the groove in it. We have this ball retainer, which is the ring with holes in it. We've got the base of the body, which is the 10-sided piece with the ring and a groove in it. We have the main body. We have the second tier, which is all one piece. And we have the riser, which is 2 pieces. So, the first thing you want to do when you're assembling it is get your main body and the main body base, and these are going to glue together. But you have to note the orientation that they're printed in, because the X and Y axis of your printer, one might be slightly stretched relative to the other, might not be exactly calibrated. And so if they both print like this, they'll fit like that, but they might not fit like that. So there is a small dot on one of the corners, and I've got it circled because you're not able to see it with the lighting and the texture on the base, but I can see it, and I've circled it. So there's a dot right there, and there's a dot right there. And this is meant to be aligned using airsoft BBs. So I'll just stick some BBs into these holes. And every other one's probably just fine. And what I'll use is some super glue. And I will just put it around both the inside and outside perimeter. Very simple. Yeah. And I've marked where the circle is, so I'll line those up. And I've got a bunch of clamps, and I'm going to go around and clamp around the outside, trying not to spill BBs everywhere. And I'll double check it all should press together. With with elephant's foot, it might kind of have to snap in a little bit. There. There. Yeah, because with the elephant's foot, the BBs don't quite fit. I didn't get the elephant's foot compensation super dialed when I printed this. But I think that's about it. I might want to grab one more. Right, so once you have it all clamped up, what we have to do is wait for it to cure. And that could take several hours, but you can speed it up if you have an accelerant spray. I do not have any on hand at the moment. I've run out, so I'm just going to let this sit here for a few hours, and then we're going to come back and we'll finish up. Alright, so now this is dried enough. Let's take the clamps off and put it to one side for a minute. And we're going to take a look at the rotating base. So this also uses BBs. And what you need to do is you need a 3/16 inch bolt with a countersink head, and that goes in the bottom like that, and then you put the retainer on and you stack the balls in. And there isn't any real orientation you have to worry about here. Just to make sure you get all those balls in. And this is, yeah. Now you could use metal BBs, but I feel like the airsoft is probably better because from what I've seen, the airsoft BBs wear out, not the races on the printed part. And I'd much rather replace BBs than reprint a new base. And this has lasted, well over a year with lots of use, so I'm not really that concerned about anything wearing out anyway. But there we are. Okay. There's all the BBs in place. Now, we take the base and we stick it on. There you go. And I'm gonna tighten this nut down, carefully making sure I'm holding it together so that the BBs don't spill out. And here's my screwdriver and my socket. Stick the socket on and I'll just screw it together. And this doesn't have to be screwed on tight. All this is doing is keeping the two sides from separating. Let's see how close I am. Got a ways to go. So yeah, so there we go. Okay, so that's tight all the way down, and it doesn't need to be tight, because all it does is it just keeps it so that when you lift it up, it brings the base with it, and that's still actually tighter than it used to be. There we go. And that should wear in. I didn't, there's still some stringing and fun stuff going on. Then, the last piece is the riser. And this can be glued in place, and that's just really simple. Just glue it from the bottom side and pop it in. Or you can leave it unglued, and that works too. If you leave it unglued, you can flip it to make it even flatter when it's in storage. So I actually prefer to leave it unglued, but since I'm giving this away to someone else, I want it to be a little more hassle-free. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that. That, and there we go. That is the completed carousel. Now the last thing you may want to do is put some rubber feet on the bottom, and that will help out. I had rubber feet on mine, but I kept knocking them off when I put them into the cupboard. So I might be adding some recesses to hold the rubber feet down on the bottom side of the print. And there we go. Anyway, that's the completed thing. So the third tier would go on the top like that, but less crooked. And then I also have design with a bowl as well for candy or tokens. There we go. So like I say, I have the files on Thingiverse, but I may be trying to sell this at some point, so if I do, I'll have a card at the corner and I'll have a link in the video description. So there we go. Over and out.